She stepped onto the court in worn-out sneakers, her hoodie pulled low and her hair tied in a plain ponytail. No one knew her name. No one even asked. To the crowd gathered at the local park, she was just another random woman daring to join. Game she clearly didn't belong in. The star players smirked. The girls on the bench whispered. And the spectators laughed loud enough to let her know she wasn't welcome here. Especially not in this street ball showdown, where only the flashy and famous got respect. But she didn't flinch. This was the court where Malik, a local basketball star with thousands of followers, ruled every weekend. Known for his dunks, trash talk, and electric energy, Malik had never been challenged by someone like her, someone quiet, unnoticed, and clearly underestimated. The moment she asked to play, Malik looked her up and down, shrugged, and tossed her the ball like he was doing her a favor. What followed next wasn't a game. It was humiliation. She was shoved, laughed at, ignored when she called for passes. Even the crowd started booing when she missed a shot. Every dribble she took seemed to echo with judgment, a still. She didn't walk away. No one knew her story. No one asked where she came from, why she played, or what she'd been through. They only saw the surface, simple clothes, silent attitude, and zero drama. But they didn't see the fire she was holding back. Not yet, because in the middle of all the mockery, something shifted. Her eyes locked on Malik as he bounced the ball with that signature grin, ready to show off again. Only this time, she moved. What happened next stunned the crowd and turned the whole game upside down. And it all started with just one unexpected step toward the rim. ... As she stepped forward. The sound of sneakers skidding on concrete cut through the noise. The game seemed to pause, just for a second, as eyes followed her slow but deliberate approach. Malik bounced the ball lazily, spinning it on one hand, clearly expecting another easy play. He didn't even bother to guard her properly, not yet. After all, to him, she was just a simple woman who had no business challenging him on this court. But under that quiet exterior was someone who had spent years fighting battles no one saw. Her name was Ava. She never introduced herself that day, but her story didn't need words. She had grown up in this very neighborhood, watching the same court from the sidelines as a little girl. Basketball wasn't just a game for her, it was her escape. Her therapy, her one connection to a world that often overlooked her. She had trained in silence, with no one cheering, no spotlight. Just early mornings, tired arms, and a goal only. She believed in no one at the court knew that Ava once had dreams of playing professionally. Dreams that were crushed after a family tragedy forced her to give it all up. Years passed, and the court became just a memory. But something brought her back today. Not for fame, not for revenge. Just to prove, maybe even to herself, that she still had it. The crowd didn't care about her past, they just saw a mismatch. But something in Ava's eyes was different now. It wasn't anger or pride, it was focus. And that scared Malik more than he let on. As she crouched low and made her move, the court held its breath. Because the moment that ball left her hand, everything began to change, and the simple woman no one believed in was about to make them all watch. The ball left Ava's hand with a smooth rhythm. Not rushed, not forced, just instinct. She didn't hesitate as she crossed over Malik, slipping past his outstretched arm like water through cracks. The crowd gasped. Some stood up, others pulled out their phones, sensing something different was about to happen. But Malik, caught off guard by her sudden shift in pace, quickly recovered. His pride was now on the line, and the playful smirk on his face turned serious. He wasn't just the star player here, he was the face of the neighborhood. The one everyone came to. See? And now, this woman who no one even recognized was taking that spotlight from him, one step at a time. Malik's teammates yelled at him to lock her down, to stop her before she embarrassed him further. But it was too late to undo the damage. She'd already earned something rare on that court. Attention. Ava felt it. The energy had shifted, but it wasn't over. The real challenge had only just begun. From the side of the court, a young girl, maybe 12, 13, watched with wide eyes. Her name was Kira, and she had been quietly dribbling on the sidelines all summer, unnoticed, invisible, just like Ava once was. But now, she was watching someone who looked like her, moved like her, and reminded her of why she kept coming back, even when no one passed her the ball. Meanwhile, the other end of the court, Coach Donnie, an older man who used to train rising stars, leaned forward. He hadn't coached in years, but Ava's moves sparked something in him. She wasn't just playing street ball. She had the form, the timing, things you don't just pick up casually. He knew talent when he saw it. And this wasn't someone who had just stumbled onto the court. But as Ava moved deeper into the game, the tension thickened. Malik wasn't going to let this happen without a fight. And with every point she scored, the stakes got higher. Not just for pride, but for something much deeper than a game. The score was tied, and the sun had started to dip low, casting long shadows over the cracked concrete court. Sweat dripped from brows. Breaths came short. And yet no one left, not even the people who only came for Malik. The energy had changed. This wasn't just about winning anymore. It had turned into something personal. Ava, the woman they had all laughed at just minutes before, was now the heartbeat of the game. And Malik, the undefeated star, was struggling to keep up. Each possession grew more intense. Malik began to play rougher. No longer smiling, no longer showboating. Every drive from Ava was met with tighter defense, harder contact. The crowd stopped, laughing, and leaned in, unsure what they were witnessing. Ava wasn't backing down. She absorbed every bump, every block, every shove, and kept going. Every time Malik scored, she answered. The back and forth became a battle of pride, of identity. It was no longer about skill. It was about who would give up first. The other players had stopped trying to shine. They knew this game belonged to the two of them now. But behind Malik's frustration was something deeper. He could feel the momentum slipping. With every glance toward the crowd, he could see it too, the shift in loyalty. People were now chanting Ava's name, clapping when she touched the ball. Even Kira on the sidelines had started mimicking Ava's moves, dribbling along in rhythm, like she'd just found someone to look up to. Coach Donnie moved closer to the edge of the court. Watching with folded arms and a quiet intensity, he could see the truth that most missed. Ava wasn't playing for attention. She was playing like someone who had carried this fight for years. Someone with a story written in silence. Then it happened, one final possession. The game clock, unofficially, ticking down in everyone's head. Ava caught the inbound pass, eyes locked on Malik. He crouched low, waiting. Everyone held their breath, and then she made her move. Ava exploded off the dribble, her movement sharp, sudden, almost too fast to read. Malik lunged to block her path, but she faked left, spun right, and left him stumbling just enough to open a lane to the basket. The crowd roared, voices rising in disbelief as she took flight. But just as she rose toward the rim, something unexpected happened. Malik recovered faster than anyone expected and leaped up behind her, aiming to swat the ball mid-air. It was the kind of play he was known for. Dramatic, last-second, crowd-pleasing. There. Bodies collided in the air. The court fell silent. Ava crashed hard to the ground, the ball spinning out of bounds. For a moment, it was unclear whether the fall had hurt her. She didn't move right away. People rushed forward, Kira among them, eyes wide with panic. Even Coach Donnie stepped onto the court, shouting for space. Malik hovered above, his expression a strange mix of concern and frustration. He hadn't meant to foul that hard. Or had he? But then Ava sat up, slowly, her face calm. Not angry, not shaken, just steady. She didn't argue, didn't shout, didn't even look at Malik. She just stood up, dusted off her palms, and asked whose ball it was. Before anyone could answer, a voice cut through the crowd. Deep, sharp, unfamiliar to most, except Ava. A man in a black tracksuit stepped onto the court from the back row. His eyes locked on her. "You still play like you did back in college," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Didn't think you'd show up here," the crowd murmured. Malik turned, confused. College whispers spread fast. Who was? She? Really? Ava didn't respond. But the way her jaw clenched said everything. This wasn't just about street ball anymore. The past she had tried to leave behind had just caught up with her. And now, with the crowd watching and the stakes rising, the truth was about to change everything. The moment froze. The man in the black tracksuit stepped further onto the court, and people parted around him. Coach Donnie's eyes narrowed. He recognized him. Marcus Vance, a former college coach, the kind that made headlines for turning raw talent into stars. He was the reason Ava disappeared years ago. Not because she failed, but because she walked away from a full scholarship when he pushed her too hard, too fast. Without ever asking why she played in the first place, Ava's fingers tightened around the ball. The streetlight flickered above. She could feel the weight of every eye on her, waiting to see what she'd do. Malik, now silent, shifted uncomfortably. He wasn't the center.